Greetings, Gothamites, and welcome to the Batman audio podcast, KNIGHTCAST. And tonight, we're talking about the delay of The Batman, starring, of course, Robert Pattinson, and directed by Matt Reeves. There's a lot of speculation why this is going on, why they delayed it. Is it because of Dune? Is it because of Affleck? Yeah, kind of. Is it because of the Rona? Kind of. Is it because of theaters in the UK that own Regal shutting down? Everything responsible. Oh yeah, these are all major factors as why WB has basically scuttled all of their upcoming superhero movies. All of them. Batman is now, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, it's March of 2022. The Flash has been moved to November of 2022. Suicide Squad might still be coming out in 2021, in August. Might. Let's see, what else? Wonder Woman is still planned for December. Sort of. That could move. So, you never know what's going to go on with these Warner Brothers executives. And I find this hilarious. I'm just going to throw this out here before they announce their new Batman animated show, which is not what you think it is. It's a Hot Wheels show with Bat cars. Yep. Let's make a preschool Batman show. That's going to go over really well in 2020, 2021. But okay, let's go with that. That's what the public wants to see. They want Paw Patrol with Batman. And they're going to get it. With the talking Batmobile, okay? But we'll talk about that another time, okay? That just fell in my lap a few minutes ago, and I'm just kind of like, I'm sorry, what? What's this? The Bat Wheels? Okay, whatever. It's cool for preschoolers, but if I touch that, I'm going to get hit with COPPA stuff, so not looking at that, ever. But, yeah, let's go through all of this. So how did this happen? Well, as some of you guys know, the Batman star, Robert Pattinson, got the Rona. And then the delay of the production was, what, 2.5 weeks? He came back on production, everything was fine. Supposedly more people got the sickness. They got down with the sickness, on production. And because all the different theaters were kind of like, well, I mean, we're not really allowed to operate at full capacity. Our theater here, good example, the area of Central PA I live in is so bad for the movies that when you buy a ticket, there's space in between the theaters. Plus, so you have space in between the seats. You're not allowed to go to the concession stand. Everything is, usually we pay on the phone anyway. You buy your ticket, you go in, everything's fine. So, I mean, we've always done that. But now you're expected to do that because there's hardly any people really working at these places. It's just kind of ghost town. And most of the movies that they're showing are very old. They're about $5 pictures that you could easily get on Amazon or Netflix or something like that. But they're charging you about $5 to go see it. And you don't get all the, accommodations of going to the movie theater. All the seats have to be spaced out. I believe they have a bathroom limit, too, at our theater, too. And they have, different stations where you have to wash your hands. And then I find this funny. I don't know if you guys got this email. I just did a little while ago. They're saying now that the CDC is saying that the Rona is airborne completely, meaning that a mask and all these other precautions that they've done won't necessarily protect you from it anyway, but they still encourage you to practice social distancing and wear a mask, even though mask may not actually help you anyway because it lives in the air much longer than they originally thought. So that means maskers and anti-maxers, everybody's wrong. It doesn't matter. So, woo! But anyway, nobody knows how Pattinson and all these other people got sick. They just did. More people are getting sick because it's getting colder. If you guys don't know, the illness lives in cold weather. In fact, you could have it in your freezer, not to scare people, but it can live up to a year in frozen temperatures. So as it gets colder, that thing's going to sit in the air a lot longer, and, well, we're all doomed, more or less. I suppose if you live in really hot climates, you'll be much better, but for those of us in the East Coast that are getting ready for winter time, which is, winter, we're going to have a fun winter, I think. But most movie theaters owned by, Cinema World or something in the UK, They're closing all the Regal places. There's over 500 theaters in the U.S. They're all being scuttled until, I think, December or maybe late November. There were a couple of movies I wanted to see. That Ryan Reynolds one in particular. The Free Guy thing looked really interesting, and Wonder Woman did look interesting, but I wanted to see it back in August. Now I have no idea. So, that's what happened to the Batman, supposedly, is some executives got a little antsy that, the Batman may not make a lot of money. They're, looking at projections. They're looking about what's happening, and they're fear-mongering that, oh my gosh, this thing is going to continue to next year. So in 2021, it's going to be 2020, the sequel. Don't say that. Don't even think it, bub. We don't want 2020, the sequel. We want 2020 to be a one-hit wonder and over and done with. Zelda, what are you doing? What are you doing, kitten? But good news for Affleck fans. So I reported on this about, let's say, 3 or 4 months ago, and a lot of people were quick to smack me down and say, no, this isn't happening. AT&T is not moonlighting Affleck to do more stuff. Oh, yes, they are. And they have been. And all these other companies are now jumping on it, like trades are like, hey, did you know that Affleck might have this amazing deal to do a Batman miniseries or something else? It's like, yeah, I talked about that 6 months ago, and people said, no, not going to happen because you can't have Robert Pattinson Batman and Ben Affleck Batman at the same time. It's just not a thing. Meh. Well, guess what? Wrong! So Ben may have a very lucrative thing coming, and it's possible that our smaller Batman actor and Matt Reeves may want to put some distance between them and the Big Bat, or Ben Bat, or Affleck Bat. Whatever you want to call him. Because he has a lot of cool stuff coming, provided that the Justice League Snyder Cut actually does well. If it doesn't do well, then, well, everything's for nothing. What are you doing? Try not to ruin the podcast there, kitty cat. I know, you're lonely. I'm lonely too. That's why I'm talking on a microphone. But yeah, all this stuff was reported months ago. And when I jump on stuff early, I always have people that jump down my throat, and they're like, no way this is true. And then I love it when months later pop up, all these other people talk about, oh yeah, well, I mean, we heard possibilities of this, but there's actually a lot more truth to it now. It's like, really? I mean, there's nothing different than what I said and what I heard 6 months ago. It's the same story that's flying around. But now people are starting to believe it more because, well, Ben is actually being, what's that word I'm looking for? Courted by AT&T and Warner Media for more Batman stuff because the public is hungry for Batman. Whenever Batman trends, it's hashtag Batfleck. It's not Pattinson. Not usually. The trailer was really cool for the Batman, don't get me wrong, but there's just something about Ben Affleck that just drives people crazy as Batman. It just, I don't know, it trends. And AT&T and Warner Brothers, Warner Media, whatever they're called now, they really want to go with what that popular trend is. They want to put butts in the seats, or in this case, they want to sell HBO Max. You know what I mean? So there's a very big possibility that Ben being around has put the brakes, or not the brakes, made Matt Reeves and company kind of steer clear of, HBO's thing, where they'll focus on, actually, you know what? They haven't really said anything. I did contact one of my WB contacts about, okay, so if the movie is moved to March of 2022, what's going on with that HBO Max Commissioner Gordon series now? Because nobody's talking about that. Nobody can find out any info about that edgewise right now. And I'm wondering, is that also going to be delayed? Because nobody bring it up. Everybody's talking about the Batman, the Batman, the Batman. What about the Gotham Gordon show, which is tied into this Batman universe? What's going on with that? Nobody seems to care. No, they don't know what Matt Reeves is going to do with that. They don't know if they're going to hold off production of that too. I mean, The Flash got pushed all the way to November. But that's just because I think they're probably worried about Keaton, some of the older actors and cameos that they have attached to this thing, which is kind of crazy. I don't really know what to think is legit and just kind of like way off in the distance. Like one group, I believe, I'm trying to remember the Superman website where I heard this. It's a very, very famous Superman website that's been around about 15 years now. But they were running with who was that guy who was going to play Superman in the 90s? Nicolas Cage. They were going around with this thing that they heard that Nicolas Cage was going to be involved in the Flash movie, whatever it's going to be called, The Flash, Ezra Miller's Flash, whatever. And he was going to play that Superman character, but somehow be tied into Keaton's world, which would be interesting, but I kind of want to see Keaton as just, he was only the Batman in his world, and he didn't really have sidekicks or all this other stuff, but I don't know what direction they're going with Keaton. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, the Superman website, people are talking about cameos from Nicolas Cage, who was supposed to play Superman in the 90s. I'm trying to remember this Superman movie that was canceled. It was about, I think it was called Superman Lives or something like that, and it was supposed to be about the death of Superman with Nicolas Cage, and he had the weird long 90s hair. You've seen pictures, right? Okay. So they want, apparently, Cage, Keaton, Kilmer's interested, although Kilmer is... Kilmer's not in Batman shape or even Alfred shape at this point. So, I mean, maybe they could have him sitting somewhere and just like, hey, remember that guy who played Batman? Yeah, we don't talk about him. Sorry, Kilmer, not... I still think Kilmer's kind of cool, but Bale supposedly is waiting on Nolan to do something like, if Nolan gives his blessing, then Bale is okay reprising his role. And half the internet hates this idea because they're like, no, we don't like that idea, because if Bale comes back, then we have to deal with what happened. What was the ending to The Dark Knight? They're saying, their argument is, if Bale comes back, then it defeats the end of the Dark Knight trilogy. But what if Bale appears in the film and it's taken from a different point in time in his career? That way he could still appear as Batman or Bruce Wayne, and you don't have to mesh with the ending. Or if he wanted to and just trolled everybody, because everybody's pretty sure that Bruce Wayne lives at the end, and Nolan was kind of doing an Inception thing, but also he was trying to fool his audience, the people that love his films, and give Bruce a happy ending, which doesn't really happen for, Bruce Wayne all that much. So you could do that. Since it's a movie about time travel, you could have Bale right around the time as The Dark Knight, or you could have Bale from... Well, he'd look kind of weird in the Batman Begins suit. It would have to be either during the events of The Dark Knight Rises, where he's kind of fighting Bane, and he runs into Ezra Miller, or it could be not long after the events of The Dark Knight, where he's just kind of running from the police or something. There's a lot they could do, since this is a movie about time travel and crashing through the multiverse. Same thing with... I don't really know how they would do Kilmer, though. Kilmer would probably just be like a civilian cameo, more or less. Maybe he'd play like a mayor or a senator or something like that. Keaton will actually be in the suit. Ben Affleck will be in the suit. And Ben is getting back into shape to do more Batman stuff. Cavill said officially that he's not coming back to do any type of additional footage. Any Superman stuff will be filmed using, I believe, a body double or some CG stuff for like distance shots, which is what everybody's reporting. So, I mean, the reason why Cavill can't come back is because of all the crazy stuff that Hollywood actors have to go for with the Rona stuff right now, since he's filming the Witcher stuff and he's getting ready to film some other thing. Every time you go to a different country, you have 2 weeks mandatory of quarantine, and he can't come back to the U.S. to film Superman stuff because he just doesn't have time. When they're going to start, supposedly when they were going to start filming like the Martian Manhunter stuff, the Green Lantern, Ben's Batman stuff, and all this other things, it was either supposed to be this month in October, which that's probably been pushed now, or it was supposed to happen November or December, with a spring or summer release date now for the Snyder Cut. Although, I don't want to scare people. I don't think the Snyder Cut's going to come out in the spring now. I think the plan was to release it before the Batman released, and it's still going to happen, but just hear me out. I don't think the Snyder Cut now is going to release until the fall of 2021. I don't think it's going to be a spring or summer thing, because they don't really have anything big for to worry about. I mean, yeah, you could say Dune is going to be... No. Dune would not have been as big as the Batman. I'm sorry. The Dune looks cool, but it's not WB's like a big draw right now. So if they can get as many people as possible to buy into the whole HBO Max service, which is going to have Titans now and Doom Patrol season 3, Titans season 3, Harley Quinn season 3, Stargirl season 2 or season 3, and some other shows. So they're actually building up their HBO Max catalog. I really see definitely late summer, early fall is when they would really push the Snyder Cut, because I don't really have any worries anymore. Before, everybody was trying to be tiptoeing around Matt Reeves' project, because, you know, the Batman, October 2021, if you had the Snyder Cut, the only way that could release is the spring or early summer, to give people kind of time to be like, all right, this was Ben Affleck's Batman, now I'm ready for Pattinson, like the smaller Batman that, you know, you don't want to run into if you accidentally scratch his car or something, because he's just going to wail on you. You know, tiny lanky guy, you got to watch the lanky guys, they're crazy. That's Pattinson. So now, you know, you don't really have to skirt around the issue with that. Like, Snyder can really do all the stuff he wants to. He wants to bring Ryan Reynolds in as a Green Lantern cameo. He wants to do the Martian Manhunter stuff. The actor's already on board. Wants to do more Darkseid stuff. Ben is back. Ben's getting into shape. I don't know about Gal Gadot, if she's going to do anything. Ezra Miller may do some reshoots, but he might be doing some stuff with... what was that movie he's part of? Fantastic Beasts, I believe. So he'll probably be unavailable due to the whole... if you're filming one movie, you have to be in quarantine over there, and then if you fly to this country, then you have to be stuck in quarantine over there. Got to go to all these other hoops, and then you fly back to the other country, then you would have to be in quarantine there. There's just no way some of these other actors that have other projects going, they're just not going to be available. It would be nice, but ADR stuff, they can just basically do voiceover wherever they are and send it to them. Mic technology has improved so much. There's recording studios all over the place. So if Henry needs to record some new lines that they can... I don't know how they would do it with, like, maybe CG Superman or some type of, like, body double or something like... Who knows? But he could always record lines and send it in. Gal Gadot could do the same. Ben is going to film some stuff, which may lead into the whole Deathstroke thing. The Deathstroke actor was joking around about some stuff on Twitter a little while ago that he was going to be filming some stuff. So we'll see what happens. Like, I feel now that the Snyder Cut is going to have a lot more room, whereas before everything was kind of compacted, you know? There was a little pressure cooker going on for Zack to wrap up his stuff, which he's not going to wrap it up. I'm telling you that right now. It's not a wrap-up. It is a beginning. It is a test the waters type of thing. If the... it's not even called the Snyder Cut anymore. It's called Justice League Director's Cut, I believe is what they're going with. They completely removed Snyder from it because, well, I mean, he doesn't own the Justice League, so you can't have on HBO Max the Snyder Cut miniseries. It's called Justice League Director's Cut miniseries. And it is a miniseries. But they want to do more than one. It's not just, okay, one and done. No. That's not what's going to happen now. And possibly because they're moving all their other Warner projects now, very, very likely you're going to see more to the Snyder Cut in 2022, 2023. You're going to get a taste for it, like the original vision of what that story was. And we've been over that time and time again. We've talked about where they're going with it. Darkseid ends up killing Batman from protecting Lois, and there's all these different heroes like Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter play a big role. Very similar to the story beats of Justice League, you know, War and Apocalypse or whatever, which was Snyder's original vision that they picked up on, and they were like, oh, we're just going to do basically what Snyder did. And that's why everybody said that animated movie was so good, is because it had that kind of cinematic feel to it, because it was based on Snyder's work that was unfinished. And now that he gets to finish it, when people are going to see this movie, I bet you that when they watch it, they're going to be like, you know, this is really cool, but I'm noticing a lot of comparisons to this animated movie that came out 2 years ago. And it's like, yes, of course you're going to notice comparisons because they based it on his unfinished work. So Snyder's going to have to figure something out, or he's just going to do things completely different. We don't know. But with the Matt Reeves stuff, everything is just gridlocked now. Everything's shut down. They're going to do a little bit of filming here and then, but I don't think they've announced any new filming dates now. Everything's just completely closed. The Matrix now is being moved from 2022 to 2021, which, I mean, I know people are saying that's kind of a big deal, but if you really think about it, it was just being moved a few months. So it was supposed to come out, if memory serves correctly, Matrix 4 or Matrix 5? Is it the fourth one or the fifth one? I think it's the fourth. Wow, it's been a long time since. Anyway, it was supposed to come out mid-2022, so they just pushed it up to December of 2021. So that would give you Dune in October, and then Matrix 4 in December-ish, and then in March, which I think March is a terrible time to release a superhero film. You're going to get Shazam numbers. You can cry all you want, you can say I'm wrong, but you are going to get Shazam numbers. It doesn't matter if the movie is good. Putting it in March is a bad idea. If they were going for Joker numbers, the movie needed to come out in October. Because the Joker did very well as a fall movie, which was very surprising for, you know, an R-rated thing. But it had a fall opening. That's also part of the reason why The Rock wanted his superhero film to be in the fall, or like around Christmas or something like that. I don't believe March superhero films do that well. May ones, yeah, maybe. But it just feels like March is not a good time. So even if The Batman is like one of the greatest films or whatever, I think that you're going to kind of damage the film just a little bit by having it come out in the spring. You know, but that's just me. I'm not a theater person. I just cover, well, you can't see my hands, but I'm actually making like a bat gesture, like flapping my wings. I cover that guy, the flying rodent, because there's always a lot to talk about with him. But if I'm disappointed about it, I kind of saw this coming. I've gotten a lot of DMs. People are like, well, you said you screamed. It's like, well, of course. I mean, my reaction to hearing it, because I got an email from Warner Brothers. They were like, hey, just heads up. We're basically, you know, shredding all our upcoming films. And they don't tell me why. They're just like, you might want to talk about it. You know, let your audience know. And we're going to make an official announcement and whatever. And when they dropped the news, I was actually streaming. And I didn't know if I could say anything when it happened, because I was just finishing a Star Wars stream. And I don't like to talk about Disney and Batman in the same thing, because I tend to get copyright claimed by either one of them, like when I bring them up and like the rival stuff. And I know, I always talk about Arkham stuff on Marvel things. I like to troll people, and you guys know how I feel about the Arkham series, but specifically when I call out, you know, the Mouseketeer business or whatever, sometimes I get in trouble on WB videos and vice versa. So I didn't want to talk about as soon as I found out about it. And I waited a while before I went to Twitter because I wanted to double check it. So I called one of my friends over in the UK who works with WB. And they said, yeah, this is totally legit. And he had this whole theory that, well, it might be because, you know, the theaters here across the pond, or however they talk over there, is like, we're shutting them down. And it's like, well, why are you shutting them down? He's like, I think it's because of the Rona, but he says, we don't really have a lot of information about it. He says also they're not really making a lot of money right now. The theaters aren't just really bringing people in. People are afraid to go to the theater, which, yeah, people are going to be more afraid now. I mean, the CDC makes so many revisions about this thing that it's not airborne. Now it's airborne. Masks work. Masks don't work. Masks may work. Social distancing works. Social distancing doesn't work. It's not on the ground. Don't worry about it. Oh, it is on the ground, so take off your shoes. Oh, It's on your groceries. Disinfect your groceries. It's not on your groceries. It can't live on surfaces. It lives on surfaces. Make sure you wash your hands repeatedly. It's like, please make up your mind. Every month, the quote, science keeps changing. And it's just like, for a person who's kind of like a introvert, totally introvert. I mean, I would be a NEET in Japan if I lived in Japan. Although technically I have an income because I'm talking to you guys, so that's a thing. But I don't leave my house very much. But even me, as a person that doesn't go outside and whatever people do outside, I'm going a little stir crazy because at least I used to drive in my car a little bit and go to Arby's, and now when I drive to my car, I literally need to wait 45 minutes just to get something from Arby's because there's a line of cars. Like, just why? McDonald's, there's nobody ever at McDonald's, but the good places, they're packed. And it's like, we have to think, do we really want to leave the house and try to get Arby's or Taco Bell? Or should we just order a pizza? Or, maybe we could do a grocery run and pick up the groceries and have a frozen pizza tonight, maybe save a little money. I'm kind of getting out of the fast food mindset because now I incorporate fast food as waiting. I think that defeats the purpose of fast food. But back to my thing, I'm going crazy being home. And I am a home person. I work from home. I've worked from home for 10 years. So, I mean, if it's messing with me a little bit and all the rules and stipulations, it's driving normal people crazy. Or maybe. But if you're a Pattinson fan, I'm sorry. Things are not going to be very well at the moment. I think he's healthy, though. From what everybody said, he recovered. He's doing well. They probably wanted to do more filming and work on the movie a little bit more, but things are just kind of wherever they are right now. I think it would be, well, I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything, so I don't know if it would technically be safe to keep filming, but it's got to be some things they would be able to do, but they're really concerned about their pocketbook, They just don't want, I guess, to put in all that effort for the movie for it to just end up as a streaming thing. Although, because things have changed so much with the theater and they've lost billions in 2020, I don't feel that Hollywood is going to bounce back quite as it did. Like during, past things like wars and 9/11 and all this other stuff. I don't really see traditional theater media being the same thing. I think it's going to change quite a bit. I don't know how necessarily. It could be streaming related, or you could just see theaters kind of go what arcades did. At one point, going from my game background, arcades were very big for about 20 years. And then all of a sudden, there were just some things that people weren't really interested in going out to the arcade. When you had a lot of mass firearm incidents at the theaters, less people started to go to the theaters. Theater numbers had been declining for years anyway. Not at this rapid rate. I mean, people are just scared. People are terrified to go to the movies. So, I mean, it's actually nice to see that Hollywood executives have a heart, but no, they don't. They just, they know they can't make money, so they're kind of being smart about it. Warner Brothers especially, and, the Mouse, are doing their streaming services. You got the Scarlet Witch series coming out, and all these different MCU stuff, and you've got different HBO Max stuff coming out, the Snyder Cut miniseries, the Gotham thing. I'm pretty sure it's still on track, but I'm waiting for a follow-up before I talk about that, because I am interested in that. I think it'd be really cool. I think the guy who plays Gordon is going to do a fantastic job, and I'm interested to see the stories they incorporate from the Batman mythos into this Gotham thing, and I'm just going to lay it right out there. I think that this Gotham show is going to be better than Gotham, because it will follow the source material. That's all you have to do. You can be a little experimental, but not to the extent that Gotham did, because that was just kind of... Why? I never liked that. Some of it I did like. The Joker stuff was very interesting. Bruce Wayne stuff was, I don't know. Alfred was cool, and Gordon was okay in that, but there was just some things. It just felt like it kind of jumped the shark a little bit too much, too often. But what they went with the Joker character, that was really interesting. That was unique. And I felt like the guy who played him did a great job of incorporating so many different elements of the Joker. You had Mob Joker, you had crazy mad scientist Joker, all kinds of stuff. And he did a great job doing that. So that was fun to see. Also, he noted his influences, so that was pretty cool. He brought up some pretty rare Jokers, too, so the kid knew his stuff. Maybe someday we'll see him come back again and play Joker in something else. You never know. With the whole multiverse being the big aspect of the DC films going forward, you never know when these old actors can pop up in other things, you know? It's very, very interesting. Other than The Flash being delayed, there's nothing going on. Keaton is still on board. Affleck's on board. They're just trying to secure these different cameos. And they want to bring in a lot of different actors, which we've talked about. The Superman actor. And Dean Cain said no. Dean Cain said no already. And Smallville also said no. Smallville said his... when I mean Smallville, I'm talking about... what's his name? Tom... No. Shoot. What's Smallville's name? Can't remember. Is it Welling? Tom Welling? I think it's Tom Welling. Pretty sure it's Welling. What is his Superman Smallville? Three Jokers live action, no. Yeah, it's Tom Welling. Yeah, Smallville's Welling. Yeah, he said no. So, I don't even know if the Flash people actually talked to him, but he was doing an interview, it was about a week and a half ago, and they brought up the whole, Flash thing, and he was like, oh, okay, that's interesting, but no, I wouldn't do it. He says, I don't remember if they've asked me, or my character's ending was in Infinite Crisis. That's the last you'll ever see of my character, until probably he's like, I don't know, maybe Tom gets super desperate for money 20 years from now, but I doubt it. Tom's very good place with his career, and, he's good. I don't think Dean is in the best physical shape to really do a Superman cameo. Maybe? I don't know. Brendan Routh, people should talk to him about being in the Flash movie. People want to see more of that Superman. That would be cool. And everybody loves that Flash actor, Grant, and the OG Flash from the 90s. So I could see them popping up in the Flash movie as well. Especially, I think that they're going to bring a lot of star power into this movie because they want to get as many people to see the Flash movie as possible. And they want people who grew up with these different DC experiences, like the Keaton films and the Flash TV show of the 90s, and some of the Superman stuff that wasn't terrible. So there really wasn't a lot of live action DC stuff to draw from outside of the CW. It just... Marvel too, there wasn't really a lot of successful Marvel 90s films. Although I would argue that the 70s Spider-Man thing with Nicholas Hammond was actually pretty cool for what they were able to do. Little crazy at times, but I actually did like that show, and that theme song was always stuck in my head. It was such a cool show, and especially when he would like web sling, and then you'd see this guy hanging on the rope. It was like, whoa, how are they doing that? But some people hate it. Some people prefer the Spider-Man of the Japan show over that one. But I think both live action ones were pretty good. But DC doesn't really have a lot of quality live action shows from the 90s or the 80s. Pretty much I liked Lois and Clark, but Dean is not going to probably do a cameo. Brandon Routh, if they ask him, I'm sure he would love to do it. Brandon is really good with his fans and really good with WB executives, and also, he loves playing Superman just like Cavill does. I could see Cavill being in it if they take some time to do it. Like, you could also argue that some of these delays, which I'm just now thinking about, again, not a theater person, not a quote-unquote film critic. I do games. I cover the Bat and whatever the Bat is involved with, but trying to think, like, movie-wise, to me, as someone outside of this industry with film, I would think they would probably be smart for them to delay the films the way they did. That way, since they're trying to build this massive multiverse, you would have time to work and get all these different actors on board in these different multiverse films that they want to do, like Black Adam, and I'm sure there's going to be some multiverse elements with Shazam, and there'll be a lot of stuff with The Flash. So if it's very difficult to lock down these actors to film stuff now with like all the different quarantines and stuff like that, it makes more sense for them to wait a little bit so they can lock down as much talent as possible and keep everyone safe. Because some of these actors, like Keaton and things like that, they're getting up there in years. Not necessarily thinking that the Rona would take Batman down, but you never know. It could literally get anybody. So that they may be considering that aspect too, because maybe they're thinking, hey, if we delay this stuff and we're able to lock down this actor to come in as Superman, or this person to play the Flash, or, maybe we could be doing this type of show, or we could do this and lead into this and keep building on stuff. Maybe they could do like this whole thing where CW people end up showing up on Ezra Miller's Flash movie. Or, I don't know how people would feel about this, but I would like a Matt Reeves cameo, like from his Batman. I think that'd be kind of cool. Doesn't have to be very long. They could, just have Ezra show up on set one day. That's what I would do if I was on charge. It'd be like 1 second you see Batman's just kind of standing on this building. All of a sudden you see the streak of lightning come in. Ezra says something funny to this Batman. This Batman kind of just looks at him like he's nuts, and then boom, done. That's it. You saw Matt Reeves' Batman. He started the DC multiverse. Depending on whose movie comes out first, you just kind of either teased more of that Batman that you're getting to like, or B, you're teasing this upcoming Batman. Like, why is he so grumpy? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a film person, but I think I'm pretty good at building stories and narratives and things like that. So I think that would be kind of a nice, fun little thing they could do if they wanted to include Matt Reeves' Batman, but I don't think they will. But who knows, with all this extra time, you never know. But at the same time, you have to remember delaying stuff is also kind of like a double-edged sword. Yes, you get more time to work on things, but at the same time, I did that on purpose, it's going to wane people's interest in a lot of this stuff. They've already been waiting for a Batman movie. Has it been... How many years has it been announced now that Matt Reeves... Are we on the 3rd year? It feels like it. Feels like pre-production began... Was it 2018? That's when they made the first announcement. Or it was supposed to be... Because... Yeah, I think it was. I think at the end of 2018 is when Affleck said officially he was done. And then they started the casting process. No, it was the middle of 2018. It's been a while. Oh my gosh, we might be going on 3 years. It could be 4 years by the time this movie comes out. So anyway, yeah, time. It's not a good thing to have people's interest just kind of like... I don't know what sound effect that was. I'm tired. But... it doesn't always make people continue that hype year after year. Joker was kind of like I think it was like a 2-year thing that people were kind of like building up interest for, and then over time it just kind of it met that, and then it dissipated really quickly. Like just as fast as it built up, it just kind of flatlined eventually. The problem I have with them, especially people are getting super hyped for the Rock movie, and now the Rock movie is not even on the calendar anymore. I mean, that has to make the Rock pretty ticked. I mean, especially because he's trying to build his own Justice Society characters and establish them in this universe. But I think that a lot of people are going to be surprised about what's going to happen with what was originally called the Snyder Cut. The fact that Warner Brothers are now calling it Justice League, the director's cut, that means Whedon's film is gone. That means going forward, the only Justice League that's going to count, good or bad, is going to be this movie. Or, sorry, this massive miniseries. That may or may not have some type of impact on the DC films going forward. All of them. Whether it's Aquaman or Wonder Woman or whatever, going forward. I still believe that based on some of the elements that Snyder wanted in his Justice League trilogy, I think it's going to come about as kind of like a soft reboot for their continuity, especially with the Flash movie. I think the Flash movie is really a Flashpoint thing, but it's going to be like a fun time travel, like Back to the Future style film. I just have this feeling that that's the type of movie we're going to get. I don't think Flash is going to be dealing with any type of cosmic threat. I think he's going to make a cosmic mistake. Because unless Whedon's version of the Flash was also Snyder's version, we won't know until sometime next year, like, what was the DC Cinematic Flash supposed to be like. Because my impression of the character, after seeing him in Suicide Squad and seeing him in the Justice League, Ezra's Flash is kind of... How do I say this nicely? It's kind of a joke, a little bit. So I feel like his Flash movie is going to be more lighthearted than Shazam. And because he doesn't know the full extent of his abilities, he's going to create a lot of cosmic oopsies when he's running around. And that's how that'll lead into Keaton and, you know... I always liked my idea of going with that dark setting about how Darkseid ends up killing Batman or something and Flash can't take it and runs, you know, through time and ends up causing a cosmic thing, runs into Keaton, who he finds Batman again, but it's a different Batman, and, you know, the Batman he found is still Batman. It's just not the same for Barry, and Barry just keeps running and keeps ending up in these different dimensions, just trying to get back what he's lost. And eventually, over the course of the film, maybe he would mature a little bit and be like, you know, I can't really get back everything that I had, but maybe if I run one last time, I can do something and try to piece things back together how it kind of was, but it will never be that way, or something. I don't know. Like maybe a little bit of CW show, a little bit of the Flashpoint comic, and something new with the Bumblebee writer. Who knows? But I don't think they're going to do that. I don't see Ben Affleck dying in the Flash movie. It could happen. Like, he could have a cameo and he gets killed, and, you know, you have to see the Snyder Cut miniseries in order to understand what's going on in the Flash movie, because at one point Cyborg was on board. I have no idea what's going on with the Cyborg actor anymore. Nobody does. The guy is kind of torpedoing his career. It doesn't look good for a new actor to do the kind of stuff that he's doing, and he's not really getting any of the big A-listers, other than Jason Momoa, because Jason Momoa is kind of a rebel. He's the only one to date who has actually stood by Ray Fisher. Everyone else is practicing social distancing from Twitter. And I don't think people know if Ray is even going to be on the promotional circuit for this film. Cavill is, I think. Affleck is, and Godot. And Ezra Miller might be doing promotion for the Justice League miniseries. I don't know. Ben is a definite. Ben's excited. Everybody else is just kind of, well, I mean, we already filmed this stuff, and I doubt Godot's going to come back and film anything, but Ben will, because Ben was, his Batman was just kind of dragged through the dirt by Warner Brothers executives. So, you know, if he has a way of actually getting rid of that hurt and moving forward with the character that he wanted to show audiences, I think that it could be very good for him, both in a mental state of mind and also how his career is. Because I will tell you guys, I am not an actor, by the way. I'm not even remotely talented. But when I had projects that I had to cancel, and I thought the projects would be really good and people would like them, In the back of my head, the project is always there, but I just can't go and do said project because just what happened to the previous one. I just can't get in that mindset like, okay, I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to do it. And I think that Ben, with all the roadblocks that he had with his Batman movie and all the different script revisions from his Arkham film and things like that, all the pressure that was put on him with, what time the movie had to come out and what type of like continuity it needed to follow. And, we're not, I guarantee you there was a ton of pressure, which they'll probably come out later when Ben is more comfortable talking about it, that his Batman movie was going to follow what the original Justice League movie was going to be about. And it was going to be told through flashbacks, and not like massive flashbacks. I think that's a misconception people had. When they talk about flashback films for Ben Affleck's Batman, I don't believe they're discussing years as opposed to months. So there would be a lot of stuff that Batman was doing prior to, we'll say, the events of BVS or Justice League, and you get to see some of the things that he was doing. Like, the Arkham movie maybe took place like a year or two before the events of BVS. Nobody really knows. It was a great script. People really loved it. Kevin Smith liked it. WB didn't like it. Well, no, that's not true. Most of the WB executives didn't like it. Some of them did, but I'm pretty sure that script followed what Snyder was trying to cement, and it didn't work with when Whedon was brought in. When Whedon was brought in, it kind of just steamrolled everything. It changed the course of the DC films, which, if we didn't have Whedon League, we wouldn't have gotten Aquaman, because, Juan wouldn't have been as inspired to make an amazing superhero film because of, that horrible shadow that a lot of these actors had to get out from Justice League. Because everybody working on that film knew it wasn't the same movie they filmed. So many differences. So many. No nightmare sequence, which the nightmare is the future Earth that the Justice League lose and is taken over by Darkseid and his, what do they call them? Not knights. Horsemen? No. Furries? I don't remember. Accolades? Whatever. It's completely different than Whedon's version, where this guy, CGI villain, comes to Earth and he's trying to get a hold of the mother boxes. You don't even find why he's bringing the mother boxes. There's a clear reason why Steppenwolf is doing what he's doing in Snyder's vision. And you guys know how I feel about Snyder, but I can respect what his original vision was, because this is the universe that Ben Affleck's Batman was going to be built on, and his past was going to be more broadened over time with his movies, which were going to be a past narrative, not a future thing, because you know that Ben Affleck's Batman wasn't going to live. Everybody knows that at this point. So Ben Affleck's Batman movies, even after his character was going to appear in a past narrative, setting up, possible Easter eggs that Alfred talked about, or maybe he mentioned to somebody else. I'm real when I want to be. Okay, well, let's focus on what that was about. Or, exploding penguins. Was this a reference to Batman Returns, or was this a Penguin Batman Ben Affleck movie? Nobody knows. But Penguin did appear in Affleck's script for his Arkham stuff. A lot of villains did. Which people, when they heard that, years and years ago, they were like, wait a second, no. Batman can't have multiple villains in a movie. It's not going to work. It would work if it was written well and shot well and acted well. This mindset of having multiple characters in a film, as long as they are treated well and the characters have had some screen time, unless you're just going to jump in and introduce everybody at once, as opposed to trying to set up people's origins. I think that a Justice League movie could work without the origins if they did it the same way that that Justice League cartoon show did it, where they just kind of jump into this world and boom, there's all this stuff happening. And then people are like, oh yeah, I already know Superman's origin. I know this, I know that. These characters are so mainstream, they could do that, but no. Everybody has to have build up and character development over several movies, and then you make a team up. That's the format that the MCU has set in stone, and everyone is going to copy that until the end of time, or till people get sick and tired of superhero films. Although I really believe that the Batman is going to shake things up. People are not going to be ready for the type of film that's going to be, and either I don't think it's going to be loved or hated the way that Joker was. I think it's going to get a lot of people thinking the way that the Nolan films did, but it's going to be very, very different. It's going to have like that comic book feel to it, but it's going to be grounded in realism, and it's going to follow a very dark Batman story that comic book fans like, and it has the potential for a lot of sequels, but I think that people are going to be very surprised. And that moment where you saw Pattinson's Batman just snap and start like beating the snot out of that guy, there's going to be a lot more of those just random, shocking moments. Bet on it. Because that's what Matt Reeves wants to do with this Batman. This is a Batman that's kind of tortured from what happened. May or may not feature flashbacks to what happened to, the trauma that he inflicted, or it could just be he stares off to the camera all kind of crazy like every once in a while, because even though we're not seeing the flashbacks, he's experiencing everything every time he hears a gun or, he's a very crazy Batman. Maybe crazier than Keaton. We'll see. But yeah, that's all the info I have at the moment. Nobody is really talking too much about the Batman thing, like why everything is all canceled. It's just kind of, some trades say, hey, it's because of the Rona. Some trades say it's because of all the theaters being shut down. Some trades say it's because of Snyder Cut and Affleck movie. There's not really a full-blown truth to what's going right now because it just happened. So what some people are doing, myself included, is there's bits and pieces of truth between all three of these different aspects. What's going on with the movie theaters, what's going on with Snyder and Ben, what's going on with Matt Reeves and Warner Brothers and all this other stuff. So some of it sounds pretty far-fetched. I don't believe that Pattinson got sick again. I think he's currently living with his girlfriend or something. And he was back on set a little while ago before the executive decision came down. What was it, yesterday? Or was it 2 days ago now? How long has this stream been set up? I think the stream's been set up for 24 hours. So I believe, you can quote me if I'm wrong, but I think that the news broke around 10:30 p.m. Eastern. No, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time yesterday. Because I was still in the middle of my Star Wars stream when I got the text. So, yeah, I think it's only been like 24 hours. And they're not going to change it. It's over. I've seen some DMs from people and some other influencers saying, like, you think they're actually going to change the movie back to 2021? Like, after, all these new CDC findings and everything like that? It's like, no. I think the movie is permanently delayed till 2022, and they're going to add even more cool stuff into it. Like, maybe things fans want to see, like Dick Grayson, who's supposed to be in the sequel, or, more Pattinson filming. Because they only had 20% footage of the film done. 25%? And Pattinson only filmed as Batman, I think, like 8 or 9% or less of the footage that they had to put together that trailer. So they were actually going to be filming a lot more of the Batman action stuff and Bruce Wayne stuff before Pattinson came down with the Rona. So where they're going to be at now, I guess we'll find out. I would say they'll probably start filming again really soon. I don't think they're going to shut down stuff. I think that what they'll do is they're going to kind of put a hold on filming for a little bit, possibly, or at least, maybe increase their social distancing practices or whatever in Hollywood, because they do have a set release time for these movies now. I don't think Matt Reeves has issued a statement other than it's delayed. I don't think they've really talked about what their plan is, because again, all this stuff just kind of happened within a 24-hour period. And over the course of this week and next week, you're going to hear more stuff from Warner Brothers. You'll hear stuff from Matt. Maybe Pattinson will do some type of interview. I don't know. Honestly, what I'm more excited about in 2021 is the Ben Affleck stuff. I have not made any doubt in people's mind that I am an Affleck fan. So I'm giving Pattinson a chance because I believe in giving him a shot. He's not Clooney. So, and I loved the trailer. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm interested to see what this multiverse Batman universe thing is going to be like. And at the same time, I am very excited to see what Ben is going to do, if he's going to take that jump and, do his Batman vision to some capacity on HBO Max, or if he, even with the amount of success that, the Justice League miniseries could get, which will be great for him because it'll put to rest a lot of inner demons for Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot and, some of the Justice League cast members. And we'll get to see what that story, that first part of that story was, to build into like a bigger, more expansive thing. That has me a little bit more excited than all the other stuff. But I would just, it's a good thing they haven't announced a release date for the Snyder Cut, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to get delayed. They have more time to work on it, and Snyder's going to take advantage of that. You watch. They're going to say, we have the official release date now, and they're going to say fall 2021 or summer 2021. So even though everyone was saying, hey, this is going to come out in the spring, or this could be out as early as February or March, nah. I doubt it. Doubt. Don't see it happening. Not when they have all this time to work, and, there's going to be a lot more pressure on this film now, because Warner Brothers doesn't really have a lot. They've got Dune, and they've got Suicide Squad, and do they have a Harry Potter movie? Maybe? Do they have a Fantastic Beasts movie next year? Hang on, let me look. Is a Fantastic Beasts movie 2021? Possibly? Fantastic Beasts 2021? Ah, they do. Okay. Supposedly. November 2021. Okay. So they got those movies. Right? But no, there's going to be a lot of pressure. Definitely. Because you just have 3 or 4 Warner Brothers films next year, including The Matrix. I almost forgot about The Matrix. Yeah, they got 4. That's not bad. Well, no, I'm pretty sure that both Disney and Warner Brothers release a lot of movies. I don't go to the movies very much. I'm very selective. Very selective. My wife watches movies. I do games. Which, actually, I'm going to be looking at a new game that caught my interest. It's a free-to-play game called, what was the name of that game again? It's, yeah, that's it. Genshin Impact. Played around with that for a little bit. It's kind of cool. Reminds me of Breath of the Wild, but it's like full-blown anime. But anyway, I'll open up the floor to you guys. You can ask me a couple questions. I'm pretty spent. So, I mean, it was a long day for me. I really wanted to get a podcast up for you guys because it's been quite a while. I apologize for that. I've had to work myself to death on the other channel, and I haven't really had any time. Do you guys know that I do about 60 streams a month on my other channel? Maybe more. So I've been kind of getting a little burned out. Batwoman is dying. You think the Suicide Squad is going to get moved to 2022? R.I.P. Is Batwoman... Let's not talk about Batwoman right now. There's a lot going on with that. There's a lot going on. Before they said they weren't going to kill Ruby Rose's character. Now they're considering that maybe she died, which may or may not alienate people. But the fact that they have another bi actress playing Batwoman, then maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea if Kate ended up mysteriously dying instead of just disappearing, because it doesn't matter, because they already have that check mark, clicked, or whatever you call that, check mark marked, Because there's boxes that you have to, fill on the CW. You got to fill this box, you got to fill this box. But as long as this box is filled, then you can, you can be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Creative in demises of characters, because you don't really need to worry about somebody. Now, if they brought in somebody to play a gay actress that wasn't gay, then you'd have people wilding out on Twitter. So, but the question is this person going to be, probably not, but I mean, she is beautiful. I think she's pretty cool looking. Her costume is going to change quite a bit. Right now, she's just wearing Ruby Rose costume. She'll get a more distinctive costume as season 2 goes around. I watch both channels. Thank you, Smitty. I appreciate that. That's a lot to watch, though. But yeah, this channel, unfortunately, guys, it doesn't get enough love anymore. Case in point, I get so many copyright claims on this channel that it's just kind of like, without memberships and your guys' super chats, like this video, probably because I mentioned the Rona, it's going to get demonetized after a day or so. It might even right after I post it. All of my E3 reactions were all claimed, going back all the way to 2016. They're just, yesterday, they were all gone. I had more Batman reviews claimed. I've lost about 75 videos this week, just gone. And some of those were still making income, so that was an ouch. But these podcasts are great. Why didn't they hire an actual Gamma monster to play the Hulk in the Avengers film? I don't really talk about Marvel stuff. James Bond thoughts. James Bond was delayed again, wasn't it? It's in 2021 now, and that's part of the reason why that company in London who owns Regal decided to close all their theaters, because there's not enough good movies coming out for them to warrant being in business. I mean, theaters were running at half capacity, 25%, and also they weren't allowed to be open during the day. Most theaters were sticking to afternoon and evening films. So my theater locally, even with all the riots and stuff, it says it was open from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 9 o'clock at night. All week. All week. No morning, no matinees, nothing like that. So nothing that you could save money. No concession stand. Hardly any human interaction whatsoever. Everything is done mostly through online. The only interaction you get is when a dude with a mask would come to you. And this is what a friend told me, because I haven't left my house since February. A friend of mine who went to the theater locally, he said, I went in, and the only time that a person actually talked to me is they came into the theater before the movie started, and they checked to see how separate people were from each other. And if they weren't separate enough, they would come up to you and be like, excuse me, sir, you just need to make sure that you move over just a little bit, because this technically isn't 6 feet apart from the gentleman over there. So, yeah. I mean, that's really the only other time. It is good that they're cleaning the theater with some type of chemical spray, which that alone right there would be like, I'm not going to the theater, because I have a thing with chemicals. I have a very, very reaction to chemicals. I don't do well with it. Smells, just the sensation of chemicals nearby. I have to use stuff that doesn't have like any harsh chemicals in them. So the fact that they're using this spray thing, I would go crazy. Probably have a panic attack in the theater. Who knows? But that's what they were telling me. So they clean the theater after every show. They make sure that you are spaced out evenly. They don't sell a lot of stuff at their concession stands, if at all. The arcades are all shut down in the theaters. The vending machines are all shut down, and most of the bathrooms are closed except for like a few. And they won't allow long bathroom time because they're cleaning the bathrooms. They're cleaning everything constantly. So I would never be able to do that. A poor choice for killing off Batman in the DCU? I mean, as long as the story's good. Do you think we'll see Barbara Gordon in the Robert Pattinson movie? The rumors were that the Bat families that you would see eventually in Pattinson's trilogy would be Grayson and Barbara. Those were the people that Warner Brothers wants audiences to get to know so that they can do spin-off films for Batgirl and Robin or Nightwing. They want to introduce the characters MCU style so that it's very easy to give them a movie later. Whereas before Chris McKay and all these other people found out that Dick Grayson was among the dead, the Nightwing film was just going to be kind of like Dick Grayson and Batman are estranged, because if you go back and you watch the Whedon film, you know that they don't tell people who the Robin is. There was a scene that Snyder filmed with Batman and the Robin suit in Justice League where Diana asks him who this was, and he says Richard. So get ready for that, because that's back in the movie, probably. So you're going to have to wait until Matt Reeves sets up stuff, because the Nightwing film by Chris McKay is probably... It's just, there's really no way. After Flashpoint, they can fix it, maybe, by just randomly bringing back Jimmy Olsen and Dick Grayson for time travel shenanigans. But at this point in time, you're going to get a Name of the Dead Robin. Mark my words. And either you're going to lose your mind, which I'm waiting for it to happen, or you just won't care. So, but it's going to happen. What is your favorite Batman game that isn't Arkham? Ooh, favorite Batman game that isn't Arkham. Oh, that's an easy one. Lego Batman series. Lego Batman 2. Although I liked how Gotham City was in Lego Batman 1. That was really fun. I did really like Lego Batman. That series has been gone too long already. That was a great series. What is your thoughts about Nightwing? What about new Bond actor/actress thoughts? Did they announce who the new actor is? I thought they're still... I have to see this. New Bond actor? New Bond. Oops. New Bond actor? 1 second, guys. I'm old. I'm slow. I can't type as fast as people on their phones these days. Whoa! This is it officially Hardy? Oh, it's just a rumor. Wait. Is it Hardy? No, it's... I don't think it's official yet, is it? Believe it or not, I'm Harvey Dent. Okay. You think HBO will roll out more Snyder Cut content? Oh, yeah. If it, if the Snyder Cut content is successful, you bet. You bet. I have theories that, the reason why Matt Reeves moved his Batman project is because people are going to really want to be into that Snyder universe again. And people are going to like it this time. Even though there's going to be controversial stuff, like Batman's going to die, and, probably some Justice Leaguers are going to get axed. Maybe Cyborg could get killed this time. Who knows? He originally survived. It's going to be interesting to see what happened, because he's not coming back for reshoots. Going to be interesting to see what happens. He was supposed to survive, sort of. He, Flash, and Batman were the resistance against Superman and his regime. And then the only survivor of that regime was going to be Cyborg and Flash. Technically, Flash is killed when he goes back in time to warn Bruce during the time of BVS. He's torn apart by the Speed Force or something. So that would have made Cyborg the only person in essentially the world of the Coinless. To do a Power Rangers reference if you guys follow that. But with Ray Fisher wilding out all the time, I can't see him having the best relationship with Warner Brothers right now. And I don't think they'll recast him until there's like a whole multiverse thing where it'll still be Victor. It'll just be another actor playing him. Probably. it's not good for a young up-and-coming actor to do the kind of stuff that he did. Usually it takes a while when you're into the industry to, blow the whistle on certain things. Because there are a lot of Hollywood directors and things that are just as bad, if not worse, than Whedon. Whedon's a jerk, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, most Hollywood directors are. They're all like that, with exception to a couple. Hoping for Justice League 2, Year 3. Never know. Real life consequences. Would you like a Batverse film similar to the Spider-Verse film? No. I don't think a Batverse film would work. Unless it was animation, maybe. And I would not open it with like an alternate Bruce Wayne first to set things up. I think it would be more fun to have, if it was an animated or CGI film, you start it in Terry McGinnis's world and have that be the catalyst for all the, Batman shenanigans from different things. And you could bring in other Batman actors from the past to voice people. I think people would like that. So you could bring Kilmer back to play Batman in a Batverse thing if it was animated. You could get Bale to do it, but Bale would only reprise his role as a Batman if Nolan gives the okay, and maybe Nolan doesn't care. I don't know. Nolan doesn't really talk about DC films much anymore. After Zack left, I haven't heard much about Nolan saying anything about DC films at all. He was supposed to make another one, but I think he's not now. I think he's just making like specific Warner Brothers movies, if at all. Is there any light bulletproof armor Batman has worn? Several. Batman is always doing trial and error stuff with his materials, from nanofibers to different types of Kevlar. He doesn't like things to be too weighted down because, it could slow him down and that could cost somebody their life. Also, if the ballistics bounce off the material, they could damage somebody else. And Batman is okay risking his life. He's not okay risking other people's. Unless you read Joker War, where they're changing Batman quite a bit. Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess it was inevitable, but he's becoming Bale Batman a little bit. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you type thing. You're going to see that happen a lot more in comics now. Because people can't get around the idea of this day and age, or even probably 10 years ago, that Batman wouldn't kill people based on all the atrocities that people like the Joker and other people do. So, and with Alfred being fully gone now, you're going to see Batman do some pretty interesting things next year. Just letting people know. Be prepared for more Bale stuff in the comics. That's the model that they're going with. That's the Batman that they are building very slowly. But there's a lot of that. I'm not going to give away spoilers. We'll talk about Joker War. If you guys want, we can do a podcast of that, or we can do a Arkham Origins multiplayer thing if it's still up and running. We can talk about the Joker War stuff, because I've read all of it now. I know everything about it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty well written. Some aspects of it were a little far-fetched, but the Batman and Joker story was solid. The Bat Family stuff was pretty good. Most of it. The Nightwing stuff was handled very, very well. Top 3 Batman movies off the top of my head. Mask of the Phantasm, Under the Red Hood, and Batman Begins or Dark Knight. Or, wait, no. I don't think I could do top 3 because I at least have a top 5. I'll do a top 5. So, Mask of the Phantasm, Under the Red Hood, Dark Knight or Batman Begins, 89 Batman, and what's that other one I liked? Was it Sub-Zero? No, Sub-Zero is good, but Sub-Zero is... I mean, it's really well written. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I would count it as like one of my favorites. Batman Year One, probably. I did like Year One a lot. Year One was cool. Yeah, Mount Nui, you got to get used to that, man. It's going to happen. Has it been stated how long Keaton was active as the Bat? 20-something years. Or 30 years, I think. Or at least 30 years since he appeared. We don't know what happened to him yet. They're still going over their thing with Batman. Or, sorry. Keaton is his... Yeah. They're still working with Keaton to find out what this Batman's been up to. And you might not get any little morsels until the movie comes out. Like, it's going to be a surprise to everybody. Either this is a guy who's super active, running around in a Kingdom Come Bat suit, or, you know, it's a Batman who retired after the events of Batman Returns. You don't know. We'll find out. I don't think he retired, though, honestly. I think that you're going to see, in his world, incorporating some of the ideas that Keaton wanted for his Batman movies. Because he was supposed to do 4 in total. He bailed on the third one before it was even... No, it was pretty bad, but it was... The one that Keaton bailed on was... He said it sucked, but apparently Batman Forever was completely different than the one he quit and just walked out on. So... And to my knowledge, I've never been able to find Batman 3, the script. I don't think it's ever leaked. I don't think Schumacher ever let it leak. I could be wrong. I have the scripts for Batman 2. There's 2 different versions of Batman 2 that became Batman Returns. I did a lore on one of them. The second one wasn't that good, so I didn't really bother with it. It sucks. No offense to people. The second one is the one that had Marlon Wayans as Robin. And it had some really crazy things with Penguin and some other stuff. And the one I did the lore on was the Dick Grayson being the homeless kid. Which was pretty decent, I guess. I mean, it felt like a Keaton movie. It felt more like a Keaton movie than Batman Returns and some other stuff. Because according to that script, Keaton talked more or something. It had a lot more Keaton-esque elements, but it never got made because Kim Basinger never came back. So they scrapped everything and they did something completely different. The Penguin character was more kind of traditional, I believe, in Batman 2, and they didn't have Catwoman in it, I think. I don't remember. I'd have to look over those scripts. I have them. I printed them off a long time ago because it was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. But I don't think I've ever read the Batman 3 script that Keaton bailed on. I don't think it's ever been public knowledge or anything like that. I'll look into it, though, because I'd be curious to see why he said the movie sucks. So there had to be some elements that he didn't like about it. Any hopes on Affleck doing more Batman stuff? Very likely. No offense, but why do a lot of people love Snyder's version because Batman and Wonder Woman... No offense, but why do a lot of people love Snyder's vision besides Batwoman and Wonder Woman being cool? People like Snyder's vision, even though it's kind of messed up and it alienates people who are fans of legacy characters because Zack Snyder is basically Dan Didio as a younger man, basically. In fact, Zack loved Dan. He liked him. He liked what they were doing with DC Comics. So that right there makes me not like Snyder all that much either. When he was talking about the co-publisher back then. Yeah. But anyway. Snyder, what I will give him credit for is he's able to build a very big universe. Or, sorry, a saga. And he makes it make sense. Like, you have to watch all of his stuff, though, in order to understand everything. And then, instead of watching, like, a separate movie, like when you're watching the movies together, it's just all connected perfectly. The fact that they were able to shoot BVS the way they did to incorporate elements of what was happening with Man of Steel at the same time. And if you're crazy enough, you can actually match up the events where Bruce Wayne is driving through Metropolis during the Superman battle, and everything that's happening at that moment is happening with Superman and Zod fighting. If there was a way to, have all the different camera angles doing their thing at the same time, there was a video on YouTube where they tried to do it, and it was visually impressive to see how he was able to incorporate his vision from these two different films that were filmed at different times. That's kind of cool. He's a good storyteller. He's good at building character development and also having things make sense. But when you change his stuff, everything falls apart. And that's what happened with Justice League, because as a lot of critics said, when you were watching Justice League, you were watching two different versions of Justice League. The stuff that happened prior to that, it didn't really feel like it happened. Yes, Superman was still dead. That was a factor in both films, but you're going to see that both stories are completely different. You will not recognize Justice League Director's Cut the way that you saw Justice League in theaters. Totally different films. Not just the tone, either. The way the characters are going to act and behave, the music, the narrative, the different characters you're going to meet, like Darkseid and Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter, and it's just... I don't even know how to explain how different this is going to be for people. It's just going to... If it's good, it's going to melt your mind. If it's bad, this is Justice League forever. So... what characters are you going to cosplay? What do you mean? I'm not a cosplayer. Who do I think will win the multiverse battle now? Marvel, because DC is delaying all their films. I don't know if Marvel's delaying their films or not. I don't think so. So Marvel's going to win. Which is funny because I believe that the multiverse plans started with DC way back with the Flashpoint movie that got kind of scuttled a little bit. So it's kind of funny. But Marvel's going to rush their MCU like multiverse stuff now a lot more, and DC is going to look like they're playing catch up again because they had all these movies ready, or well, sort of, and now they're delaying all of them by like years. So it's going to be interesting. What's funny is DC was the first one with a multiverse anyway. They were the only company that really kept their multiverse going. Marvel kind of canceled their multiverse several different times throughout their comic history, and DC killed off their multiverse. Not just ignored it, they literally killed everybody in Crisis on Infinite Earths, merged everybody into one Earth, and then over the course of the past 30 years, they've kind of brought the multiverse back. The multiverse is going to play a big role, which is going to be different than Marvel. Their multiverse is going to be in their MCU. The multiverse for DC is going to be in comic books, films, animated shows, and video games. You're going to get sick of it because there's going to be so much multiverse. Multiverse this, multiverse that, multiverse this. It's not going away. I think they're going to do the multiverse too much. But that's just me. What do I know? K-Wing just got on the stream, heard about an animated Batmobile kids series. Oh, gosh. We have to talk about Batwheels. Yes, it's real. It's a show for preschoolers. It was just announced yesterday. It's coming out next year. It will be on HBO Max. So if you want to watch it, buy HBO Max. It's going to be on Cartoon Network and HBO Max. And if they make a video game, I'm not playing it because Kappa. It's basically Hot Wheels or what's that popular little tyke show? Paw Patrol. It's Paw Patrol Batman. But not Batman. They're cars. It's Disney cars with Batman characters as cars. And it's the newest animated Batman show in 4 years. I don't want. Yeah. Yeah, DC doesn't have a lot of old age actors. Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing. With Marvel, what they're doing, supposedly, is Tom Cruise is going to be Iron Man. Did Tom Cruise ever appear as Iron Man before? No. But he's going to be, supposedly, Iron Man in one of the universes. So in theory, if DC wants to bring in, we'll say, Clint Eastwood as Batman for a cameo in the Flash movie, do they need to establish Clint Eastwood as Batman to have him appear now? No. So it doesn't matter, like, that DC and Marvel are both lacking older actors from shows that are really non-existent, but you're going to see celebrities that you wanted to see as Batman or Iron Man or Superman pop up in these multiverse adventures. Bet. I'm just surprised. I mean, the last thing I heard was Tom Cruise was going to be Green Lantern in the DCU, like a buddy cop Green Lantern movie a couple of years ago. But it sounds like Reynolds is going to be the at least cameo Lantern in Snyder Cut. That's almost like a guarantee at this point. But afterwards, who knows if he's going to stick around or if it's just like a one-shot thing and they'll bring in Diggle from... Because the Diggle show is going to be on HBO Max, supposedly. I've been really, really digging into the Green Lantern thing because I like Diggle, and I want to see what they're going to do with the Green Lantern. And the actor teased that he's involved with something Green Lantern, so it's one of two things that could be. HBO Max series, or Diggle is the Green Lantern that's going to show up in the Snyder Cut. Which either Reynolds appearing in the Snyder Cut or Diggle appearing in the Snyder Cut, both are wins in my book. Both are things fans want to see, even though they think they don't. They do. You've loved Diggle for all these years on Arrowverse. You want to see him as Green Lantern in something. But I think that Reynolds just has a little bit more star power that would make people lose their minds, him being Green Lantern in the Snyderverse as opposed to Diggle. Diggle should get his own HBO Max series that will somehow be tied into the multiverse. That's what my honest to God hope is. It'd be cool if he's Snyder Cut Lantern, but I would want him to have his own show because he was a co-starring character, and Diggle is such a beloved character now, and people want to know what's going on with him and his adventures in Metropolis and Superman and all these other things. I would springboard the Green Lantern show with Diggle and have it be a cameo show where Diggle's the star and Superman shows up in his show every once in a while, or the Flash, or whoever. You just have these random heroes pop up every once in a while for, like, you know, because just like in the comics, like Green Lantern has had tons of heroes pop up in his books, from Green Arrow to not Green Lantern, to the Flash, to Batman, Superman on occasion. So, yeah. It'd be pretty dope. People are just asking me questions at this point. The Batman stuff is all over and done with. The Batman stuff was a quick 30-minute discussion, and then we went all over the place in the theories and speculations on why the Batman was delayed. Affleck and his intimidating bat aura and, you know, possible return on HBO Max outside of Snyder Cut. Theaters closing down all over the world. Not being able to get actors to appear in The Flash due to other commitments and quarantine rules for, you know, you can't get all these different people to come in and film stuff because they have all these quarantine regulations of like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that every time you travel. So 2 weeks into a country, and then you start filming, then you fly back, and then you're 2 weeks in quarantine, and then you can start filming in that country. And both are risks. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why it could have been, but they haven't released an official statement just yet, because it just broke yesterday that they were delaying it. Is there going to be a Batman Beyond movie? Nobody knows. Marvel should just have X-Men and Spider-Man meet in the MCU, and DC should focus on building the cinematic universe, bringing in villains like Brainiac, bring in Titans, Bat Family, Lantern Corps. I think they're going to try to build the Lantern Corps first. The Titans is kind of like HBO Max, unless the Titans randomly show up as a cameo in the Flash movie, which was a rumor a while ago, which I was kind of like, this can't be real. But with the way that HBO Max is doing things now, it's not. People are going to be surprised with the budget of the Titans and Doom Patrol and all these other things because they're now on HBO Max. They're not going to be on that really small streaming service. That streaming service is dead. So everything's getting a upgrade. Everything's getting an upgrade. How do you feel about the animated fan film for Spider-Man 4 coming out soon? That's the first I've heard of it. That sounds cool. Batman on Titan. Yep, he's going to be on season 3. What happened to the Nightwing movie? It is... No one knows. I've reached out to Chris McKay. No response. And I know other press people have reached out to Chris McKay over the years. The last he said anything about Nightwing was it was on the shelf and it wasn't dead. And that was 2.5 years ago. When someone brought up Nightwing at a convention, I think it was 6 months ago, one of the last things that Chris McKay was at, he just kind of shrugged. Like, he didn't really answer the question. They were like, what's going on with Nightwing? And he was just kind of like, that's not a good sign. I want to see Tim Drake live action, but who will play as Tim Drake? No idea. You'll see Dick Grayson way before Tim Drake. Every time I would comment that would say... I don't know. That's not really toward me. It could still be Ahsoka. Oh, yeah, you guys are talking about MCU stuff. Do you like Iron Man? I don't dislike Iron Man. I kind of want to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man, now that people are talking about it. But I also would like to see Tom Cruise as an older Hal Jordan. So... I want a Batman the Animated Series kind of Batman movie. We all do. We all do. Should they make an Injustice Gods Among Us movie? I don't know. Maybe. I would like them to make an animated movie first. I think that would be really good. I'm not a huge fan of the blue bat suit. Yeah. Rob Pattinson doesn't look as good as Ben did in the suit. He's a much smaller. Luke, did you read Deceased yet? Yes, I did. I will talk about Deceased another time, though. I've read all the way through Joker War. I've read Deceased. I'm currently reading, what's that new thing? The Three Jokers story is not what I was expecting. The first issue I liked. The first issue was like kind of like a gotcha that people weren't expecting. That's all I want to say right now. I'll talk about it later. It's one of those, it has like an Alan Moore feel to it a little bit. It's something that you have to read it a few times. But I mean, it's different than what I thought it was going to be. Do you have information about the Suicide Squad movie? Nope. It's still on track for 2021 at this time, along with The Matrix 4, which is December, Fantastic Beasts 3, which is November of 2021, and what was the fourth movie? Was there even 4? Matrix, Suicide Squad, Fantastic Beasts 3. James Bond isn't WB. Tenet is out, isn't it? Wonder Woman is December of this year, supposedly. What is the fourth? Was I miscounting this whole time? I don't know what the fourth movie was for Warner Brothers now. The Suicide Squad movie is going to be crazy. I have not read that Batman one yet. Under Red Hood animated movie thoughts. Fantastic. I know what I can tell you guys. Originally the Under Red Hood movie, like the Death in the Family thing, was supposed to come out later. They were planning on an early 2021 release. It comes out either this week or next week, digital. And then in 2 weeks, it'll be out on Blu-ray. Which is good because this is actually the year that 10 years ago, Under the Red Hood came out. So I'm glad that it actually is releasing in 2020. I just want to be done with 2020, though. So that's going to give me something really cool to watch, and I'll talk about it. I can't do a review on it because I'll get a copyright claim, so I'll probably just do a podcast thing on it. But I'm excited to see it. I'm going to watch it as soon as I can because that's going to be awesome. I probably won't be able to watch it on my phone, though, because it's an interactive movie. Dune! Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Yes, Dune was the 4th movie. Wow, that shows you how little I care about Dune. Ouch. Ouch. Ooh. I feel kind of bad now. So with Babs returning as Oracle, does that mean she's going back to the wheelchair? Nope, she's not paralyzed anymore. She's just retiring. She's going to be a key support player going forward. And it looks like B and Nightwing broke up. Sort of. Or at least B thinks that her and Nightwing broke up because he's not Rick Grayson anymore. So, and he's not going back to Bloodhaven, I don't think, either. Or Boldhaven, or whatever you want to call it. I think he's done. He's going to be hanging around the Batman family for quite some time. Can you do a... what? What's your all-time favorite Batman comic? I'd have to think about it. I'm in no hurry. I feel like next year could always be worse. Yeah. K-Wing, do you think we'll ever get a metahuman villain in Batman movie ever again? You were going to get a metahuman villain of some sorts in Ben Affleck's Arkham movie. They were talking about like how either Clayface or Killer Croc was going to appear in the movie. You were going to have Penguin, Deathstroke, either Clayface or Killer Croc, Ivy. I don't think Catwoman. I don't believe Joker. Two-Face was going to be in it. And there was one other villain. I think it was Firefly. And the entire movie was going to take place in Arkham, which would lead to the breakout of Lex Luthor or something like that. Devil May Cry Special Edition hype. Yep. Do you plan on looking at Virgil DLC? Yes, I do. If you had a choice to make a DC game, what kind of game would it be? Nightwing! Nightwing the game. That's what it would be. Wouldn't be Gotham Knights. It wouldn't be Arkham. It would be Nightwing the game. And Oracle would be in it. Alfred, probably. And I would have Deathstroke as my bad guy. And maybe some Titan cameos. That'd be fun. Did I hear about Injustice 3 coming out next year? Is that official? Did they announce something because they were bored? Or is this just speculation and YouTubers are saying, oh, it's coming? Injustice 3... It was officially announced when? Just now? No, there's nothing on it. All people are going by that Injustice 3 was announced. Ed Boon teases new Mortal Kombat 11 announcement this week. Alright, well, let's go to Ed Boon's Twitter. See if he said anything about Injustice 3. Doubt it. So you probably have YouTubers saying, oh, Injustice 3 is most likely coming out. No, they're just trying to get you to click on their video. What does Ed Boon say? Ed Boon says, oh, Eddie Van Halen, you suck, 2020. No. I don't see anything 13 hours ago, 12, a day ago, MK4 story. Nope. Not true. Not yet. Don't listen to YouTubers all the time. That's my advice. It's not official. Is Nightwing really good enough character to have his own game? Yes! Yes, he is! This is not a serious comment. Oh, okay. Whatever. They're still on Mortal Kombat. Yeah, they're going to be on Mortal Kombat for just a while. I wouldn't count on an Injustice 3 announcement until sometime next year. You're not going to get one this year. Doubt. If you do get one, most likely it would be during the Game Awards. If they're are they even doing the Game Awards this year? Can they do the game? I mean, is it gonna be? It's be a sucky award show like the Academy Awards was or something. They'd be better off just doing like a Twitter poll or something. I don't know. Maybe they could announce it during that. Favorite Iron Man movie? Don't have one. Ed, what a boonhead. I guess we could wait for confirmation, but that would be cool. Yeah. I mean, you have to look at marketing trends and things like that. I mean, Warner Brothers right now wants people to be interested in Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad the game. When Gotham Knights has more information about it and we get closer to release, most likely you'll get some type of official announcement that Injustice 3 is going to be coming. I'd say 2022, probably. Unless they want the Suicide Squad game to be kind of like its own thing. Like, they don't want any competition in-house or something. I don't know. We'll find out. I saw it too. How tall am I? Really? How tall are you? 6'3". The Spider-Man 4 fan. I'll look into that, but who would you have as a Nightwing actor and villain? Nightwing actor would be Yoshi from Power Rangers Dino Charge, and a villain to play Deathstroke. I don't know a lot of actors. I wish Antonio Banderas was younger. I would have him play Deathstroke. I think he'd make a cool Deathstroke. Would have. Kind of hope Red Robin replaces Batman in Suicide Squad. Wait, so is Rick Grayson gone for good? Yup! Rick Grayson is gone! You could break out the crab dancing music. You know that crab dancing meme that's playing right now in my head when I think about Rick Grayson gone, and then B just kind of runs away. Like, she's just like, oh no! Even though he was even like, hey, have you even seen B? And it's like, nope, she's gone. It's like, all right, let's go out for pizza. They didn't go out for pizza. Barbara's hugging him, Bruce is hugging him. And then they go into the final battle against Joker and his clown army. Just kind of ridiculous, but it was okay. What about Two-Face? What about him? Antonio Banderas in his prime would have made a great Deathstroke. I know! He was my favorite Zorro. Oh, he would have been so good. Oh! Missed opportunity. I'm getting sick of the pandemic. Me too. I mean, Joe could... Yeah, he's probably still Deathstroke. I don't know. Drake is no longer a duck. That's right. Rick Grayson is gone. Tim Drake is no longer Duckman. And Damien's gone. Damien is evil now. Or becoming evil. Mini-me. Mini-Raish. He's becoming mini... Grant Morrison can't like what they're doing with Damien. Poor Grant. His characters don't catch a break. All right, any closing questions? Ah, got out. I think I just swallowed a hair or something. Any closing questions about the delay of any of the DC films or the Batman, anything like that? Why do Robin and Batgirl have weaker body armor? Because they are distractions. W. Montreal lied about Black Mask being the villain in Origins, so why would we believe that Batman is dead in Gotham Knights? We'll see. Yeah, Damien is pretty much becoming Mini Roz. Yep. What is your favorite Arkham side mission? Hush from Arkham City. Would you have Two-Face in the Nightwing movie? No. Do I plan on looking at Spider-Man Remastered? You mean with Spider-Man Remastered with Tom Holland Spidey? Tom Holland Spidey face? Yeah, I guess. Although I've noticed that it's Alex, you're just pulling things out of a hat. Luke, do you know about this game called God Hand? Nope. Do you think the CW verse will be over with? No. CW verse is cheap to make. And, you know, it's got an audience that likes watching most things. Although a lot of their really edgy shows didn't do well last year. So either they're going to hit the brakes. Okay, let's talk about CW real quick. Either you're going to get a lot more of the CW woke machine, or they're going to put the brakes on a little bit and focus on stuff like The Flash and Stargirl. Or they didn't learn their lesson from last year's terrible ratings and during the pandemic when nobody watched the CW and people were home and less people watched than when people were not confined to their houses. That's sad. The only reason they canceled the shows or moved them is because they knew if the shows kept airing right now, no one would watch them. Because nobody cares. They succeeded in basically creating a ghost audience. They even alienated people in their own audience, which is hilarious. So my prediction is one of two things. Either they're going to put the brakes on some of the woke stuff a little bit, or they're going to go pedal to the metal and the CW is going to come crashing in flames by 2022. Because they can't stop. They're sick. NPC people are they're crazy. There's no balance. There's either all in or nothing. And you saw that with their comics all the time. They would go full-blown crazy in their comics, or they wouldn't do any of it. There was no in-between. There needs to be an in-between. And they don't do that. So, the only one that can destroy the CW is the CW. More or less. And the fans that hate them. Or don't hate them. What do you think will be the villain after the Reeves trilogy? They're probably going to set up the Joker. Or they'll set up... I would really like them to go the Harvey Dent direction because they're doing basically the Long Halloween. So for the Batman, I would like them to start with the Riddler. I would like something to happen to Harvey Dent that makes him become Two-Face and have him be the big bad for the second movie. And you could even incorporate... Whoops, sorry about that. Cat hit the mic. You can incorporate some elements of Harvey and his animosity toward Robin for a second movie, which could lead into, later if Two-Face doesn't die in a Matt Reeves Batman movie, to be kind of an antagonist for Dick Grayson later in a solo movie. So there's a lot of world building they can do with Two-Face. But most likely, just like the Joker wasn't really introduced in Matt Reeves' movie that we know of, you'll see him most likely show up in one of the sequels. It's a safe bet. Very safe bet. Always bet on the Joker. Yes, Sefton Hill confirmed that Bruce isn't dead in the Arkhamverse. We all knew that, though. Yep, the CW does have the Swamp Thing series. Have I eaten anything today? Oh my gosh, I don't think I've eaten anything. That explains why I feel funny. Huh, what time is it? Holy crap. Whoops. I knew I forgot to do something. I'll take care of that afterwards. Would you have Dennis O'Neil? Would you have the... Yes, I liked that version of Two-Face. Mm-hmm. In a heartbeat. That was a great version of Two-Face. What is my favorite Justice League game? Injustice. I wouldn't write Damian. I would write Tim Drake, sorry. I'm not a fan of the replacement of Tim Drake. Sorry. Any last questions about the Batman? And then I have to go eat something. I totally forgot to eat today. I swear I did, though. That is crazy. I'm crazy. Who would I cast as Two-Face? I don't know actors. What was Superman been doing this whole time in the Arkham series? Just, I don't... See, this is a problem. Arkham was not supposed to continue after Arkham Knight. It doesn't make sense. Does Superman just come in and fix everything? But wait, how can he come in and fix everything? Because, well, I mean, Batman was still gone several months after the whole Arkham Knight incident. You're telling me Superman... Maybe Superman was off-world, and they just ran back in time. I don't know. It should... I know. I love Rocksteady. Rocksteady wants to keep doing their storyline, but how? How are they going to do it? There's no way they're going to do it. This is just going to cause so many headaches. I am not looking forward to the narrative. I don't care. I just want to see the Suicide Squad fight the Justice League and somehow win comedically. I don't care how Batman is still around. I don't care what the Justice League's been up to the last 7 years. If they exist, then they would have shown up. And they were teased to exist, so the only thing they can say is they were off-world, and maybe in their off-world adventure they caused Brainiac to show up on the Earth 7 years later. There you go. Rocksteady! Sefton! Yo! I got it. I know how it works now. Okay. So, Arkham Knight happened, and the Justice League that could actually do something, like fix everything, they're not on Earth during the time of Arkham Knight. So that's why Scarecrow is able to unmask Bruce Wayne, which would then pretty much make him come out that, oh, Bruce Wayne was actually the founder of the Justice League and their biggest financial backer. So now we need to look in the Justice League and find out how they are. There's a lot of a lot of landmines that they planted by doing this that they're not even thinking about. So to fix everything, here it is. What really happens. What you need to know about Suicide Squad 2022. How is Batman still Batman? Superman fixes everything. The end. 7 years later, Brainiac arrives because of space shenanigans that the Justice League did 7 years prior during the events of Arkham Knight when they were not around. And Brainiac took years to come and stuff happened. He took control of the entire Justice League, and Batman will be the final boss. The end. Done. Canon. Thus the Bat King say, thus will be. Makes sense. Sefton! That's it. I fixed it, my guy. I fixed it. Alright. Any last questions about the Batman? And then we're done. My stomach is eating itself. Do you like Daniel Craig as James Bond? Sure. Where is the Justice League? How is Deadshot black? How is Batman alive? Rocksteady. Yes. That's a good one. Uh-oh, there was a thug that mentioned Clark from Metropolis, so he saw... okay, well... They were off-world. That's how you fix everything. There you go. The Justice League was either trapped in the Phantom Zone, or they were too far away. And Batman is a part-time leaguer, so... Could they have gone with a different... No, I mean, Brainiac's a... Hey, what's up? Do you think Gotham Knights will be successful? More successful than Arkham Origins. You can quote me on that. No more continuity errors. I'm done. Alright, guys. No one else has any of the Batman stuff. So, if you guys are just joining, just to wrap up, this was a Batman podcast, but it also talked about all things Batman. We did Q&A for the last hour, which you missed out on. Sorry. There will be a podcast coming out this week talking about the Joker War. It will have spoilers. Can't do a review because I will get content ID. I've had 75 of my videos, Batman and E3 showcase stuff, all claimed in the time span of the last 48 hours. So reviews on this channel, I can't do them. Podcasts seem to be clear because nobody really cares. I just have this amazing backdrop of Gotham with snow. I talk about whatever the heck I want. People listen. Hooray. I wish I could up my production values, but if I want to make any type of revenue, well, we're stuck doing this, unfortunately. It sucks, I know, but you guys are all amazing. Recap, more or less. Let's see. Matt Reeves' movie's been delayed until March of 2022. Possible reasons, because Ben Affleck is being offered a lucrative deal with HBO Max to do his version of Batman. I doubt Pattinson is intimidated by Ben Bat, but I would be, considering that, you know, Pattinson is not jacked and Ben is a beast. And every time people talk about Batman on Twitter, Affleck is the one that's trending and not Pattinson. That's gotta suck when the dude you're replacing, supposedly, is still more popular as Batman than you are. That's a yeet. Anyway, so that could be potential. Warner Brothers didn't want to have so many Batman coming out at once, so they're just going to focus on the Snyder Cut next year, and they moved Matt Reeves' Batman movie to March. There are also tons of rumors that the shutting down of all the theaters in the UK and America is also a factor because theaters are not making a buco bucks right now, operating at 25% capacity and operations, and the Bond movie was delayed and some other movies were delayed, and there's really nothing coming out in the theaters, so they're just like putting everything on pause. So lots of speculation, but you'll get an official announcement, probably the reasons why, outside of the Rona, why the movie was delayed, but most definitely has to do with the Snyder Cut, and I'm calling it now. The Snyder Cut's going to be delayed until fall or summer of 2021. And that was your Batcast. Hopefully everybody had a great night. Ow. Cat attacked the microphone again. I'm going to go eat something because I'm probably going to pass out because I haven't eaten since last night. Don't do that. I'm not fasting. I'm just dumb. I've been working. I've been streaming all day, and I've totally forgot to eat. It happens. So you guys have a great one. Look for another Batman podcast on Joker War. We're going to be talking about all kinds of crazy stuff because I've read it through, liked and hated some of it. But you'll have to find out what I think in a couple days. So there is a scripted Batman video coming out with a sponsor. Not going to tell you who the sponsor is, but I appreciate, hopefully I can count on your guys' assistance with clicking said link to whatever sponsorship is. That way we can get more sponsorships in the future, because the video is going to be dead in the water as soon as I release it, because it will have awesome editing. I have a whole little skit between some of your favorite Batman voices, such as Bale voice and Bane, along with talking about Nolan-esque stuff. So, yes, it's going to be fun. All right, peace out, guys. Have a great night. I'm done. Thanks for listening to the Batman Audio Podcast, KNIGHTCAST on Nightwing 01. Peace.